the ultimate decision made by Jenny. I'm leaving India forever. TLC cameras capture Sumit's heartbreak. Jenny, Slatten battled for years to demonstrate that love was stronger than judgment, distance, and culture. She was the woman who sacrificed everything for love, including her identity, her house, and her comfort in order to live with Sumit Singh in a small Indian neighborhood. As fans of Fiancé saw her for the first time, the tiredness that lay beneath Jenny's serene smile and the emotional breakdown that had been subtly developing for years, however, was hidden from fans and only partially seen by TLC cameras. A number of production-related insiders claim that Jenny has finally had enough. She has now decided to leave India for good after experiencing unending cultural conflict, loneliness, and rejection from her family. It was the end of a love story that fought the world but couldn't survive the weight of it. According to one insider, according to reports, it all started a few weeks ago as they were filming what was supposed to be a happy finale for the next season. Jenny had been spotted trying to look pleasant while out at the market with some friends. Her face, however, appeared different to those who saw her, not unhappy or angry, but incredibly exhausted. A local station was informed by a source that she wasn't the same Jenny. She appeared as though she was mentally bidding farewell. Jenny and Sumit's relationship had become strained. Behind closed doors, more was seen on TLC cameras than fans will ever know, including lengthy dinner-time silences, minor disputes concerning family visits, and instances where Jenny was observed crying in private confessionals. She had been silently going through the same old cycle for months. Sumit saying that things would improve, and then his family destroying that hope one piece at a time. One crew member claimed that a private family dinner that was never intended to air was the last straw. According to reports, Sumit's parents, who have remained aloof toward Jenny despite their years of marriage, said something that rendered her speechless. The insider claimed that they informed her, "You will never truly belong here." She simply nodded, looked down, and remained silent the remainder of the evening. Something inside her seemed to have suddenly shut down. After the cameras had dispersed later that night, Jenny supposedly lost it all. She said to Sumit, "I can no longer pretend." A source connected to the production disclosed, "I can't live like this." She couldn't stop crying. You don't fix arguments like that. It was actually a disguised farewell. Everyone on set was shocked by what transpired next as she started to discreetly collect her belongings. The TLC team, who had been following Jenny and Sumit's romance for years, looked on. No yelling, no flaming, only a quiet, agonizing quiet. She left a note on the kitchen counter, folded her things into a suitcase, and took framed pictures from the wall. One source claims that the note simply said, "I did my best. I put my heart into it." However, this is now survival rather than love. According to reports, when Sumit got home later that evening, the unit was only partially occupied. His response, according to a producer who showed just minutes later, was heartbreaking. He called Jenny's name as he went from room to room, his voice cracking as he realized she was no longer there. The insider went on to say he just sat on the couch and stared at her things. You could hear him trying to contain his tears. This was not the conclusion that TLC had in mind. The producers had hoped for a quiet ending that would show Jenny acclimating to life in India and the pair getting ready for a bright future. Rather, they received unadulterated anguish. One team member attested that Jenny's departure wasn't prearranged. We simply followed the events that were taking place, and we continued rolling even after she announced her departure. That video, in which Jenny ultimately sobs and mumbles, "I can't do this anymore," is said to be among the most heartbreaking sequences ever shot for the franchise. However, according to insiders, TLC bosses are still deciding whether or not to broadcast it. According to one source, it's powerful and real, but it hurts to watch. She isn't pretending. She's really finished. Jenny's close friends claim that she's been preparing for this for some time. She has been discreetly getting in touch with her Californian relatives in recent months, inquiring about housing alternatives, and even talking about how to get her possessions back home. A family friend clarified she loves Sumit, but she's realized love isn't enough. She gave up everything for him, and all she received in return was loneliness. Sumit has apparently been having difficulties behind the scenes. Neighbors have witnessed him roaming alone late at night, appearing distressed, and he has declined to participate in interviews. One observer remarked, "He looks lost, like a man who, without her, doesn't know who he is." Jenny's last comments, which were recorded at her private TLC confessional before she left, perfectly capture her suffering. "I came here for love. However, I lost the ability to love myself somewhere in the process." Fans are anticipating what might be the most devastating episode in Fiancé history as TLC gets ready for the next chapter of their tale. It's possible that Jenny Slatten, who once battled the world for love, is turning her back on it all. According to insiders, there is no going back this time. The morning following Jenny's disappearance, the sun rose over Nita in silence, while the streets hummed with the same frantic cadence. The tiny flat where she and Sumit had previously established their lives was silent. Her favorite shawl was thrown over the chair she sat on for morning tea, and there was still a solitary suitcase-sized hole in the corner of their bedroom. All night, Sumit had not slept. He sat in quiet, playing back old voicemails from Jenny, muttering her name repeatedly as though she may respond. According to a crew member who remained close by, Sumit called TLC's production crew that morning to inform them that Jenny was gone. What happened next wasn't a contrived scene or a producer's notion. It was genuine heartbreak. "I'm not sure where she went." Once more, cameras were in motion, but not for amusement. They were apprehending a man who had recently come to terms with the fact that he had lost the only person who had faith in him when everyone else had given up. According to insiders, Sumit absolutely collapsed in front of the team. "I pushed her too far," he allegedly told them. Everybody in the room allegedly fell silent when he remarked, "I thought our love was enough." His voice cracked as he added, "I thought she would never leave me, no matter what my family said." Even the camera operator, who had experienced heartbreak on reality TV, was crying. Sumit gave Jenny another call, a Few hours later, it went straight to voicemail this time. Just tell me you're safe, Jenny. He pleaded in Hindi. You can return home, but don't vanish. Sources claimed that TLC recorded this call in real time, and it's among the most eerie scenes from the upcoming show. Please Don't Hate Me. Production contacted Jenny's contacts in India while Sumit attempted to contact her. According to one of them, she had taken a flight to Delhi the previous evening and then made a connection to Los Angeles. They said Jenny had planned this for weeks, so the choice wasn't made on the spur of the moment. According to the source, she made up her mind long ago. She was hoping for one final indication that things would improve. She left because she didn't understand. TLC management apparently rushed to make a decision when word got out among the production team. Overnight, the plot had changed from one of reunion to one of sadness. One producer acknowledged, "We had no idea she would actually leave. She had previously shown emotion, but this time it was different." Eventually, this woman said, "Enough." Everyone was astonished by Sumit's family's response. In the meanwhile, according to reports, his mother, who had rejected Jenny for years, stated, "This is for the best." However, Sumit's father, who is typically reserved in interviews, reportedly drew producers aside and remarked, "He will never find peace again. She was never intended for him. He lost everything because he chose love." Days later, Sumit revealed the anguish of his decisions in a heartfelt confessional that was captured on camera. He whispered, "I wanted to make everyone happy. However, I made everyone unhappy by doing that, especially Jenny. I advised her to wait for my family's approval and to exercise patience. She was losing herself while she waited for me, but I didn't notice it." After that, he turned to face the camera and muttered, "I failed her," something that even the editors found hard to believe. "I let us down." Production insiders claim that TLC has more than hours of unreleased video that chronicles Sumit's days by herself. Following Jenny's departure, he can be seen eating dinner alone in the kitchen, in several situations while gazing at her vacant chair. One crew member remarked, "We filmed many heartbreaks, but nothing like this." In other scenes, he goes to her favorite temple, leaves flowers there, and whispers, "Come back." It's actual pain. Now, not reality TV. Fans are unaware that Jenny left more than just her possessions behind. Additionally, she left Sumit a tiny envelope which a producer later discovered. A brief letter in her meticulous handwriting was enclosed. It said, "I adore you, Sumit, but I'm at my breaking point. I lost a bit more of myself every day while I battled for acceptance. Waiting for love is not something I can endure. One day, I hope you'll realize that I went because I needed to rediscover my love for myself, not because I had stopped loving you." Witnesses said that Sumit broke down entirely when he read the letter on camera. According to one insider, he was unable to speak. He simply sobbed while holding the letter to his chest. Everybody in the room shared his tears. Over the next few weeks, TLC discreetly stopped production. Neither Jenny nor Sumit wanted to speak in public, and the network did not have a statement prepared. Online, however, followers started to pick up on subliminal clues that something was amiss. Sumit had completely ceased posting. Jenny's social media accounts had gone silent, and even TLC's official page had started reusing old video rather than brand new. According to reports, TLC gave Jenny the opportunity to record a final sit-down interview behind the scenes for a Farewell to India episode. She initially declined. She did, however, accept after weeks of deliberation, but only on the stipulation that she'd be allowed to speak without editing. I loved him more than I've ever loved anyone, she stated, as she sat down in a quiet California studio, according to production insiders, and gazed into the camera. However, love shouldn't be painful all the time. Sumit, meantime, is still in India, encircled by seemingly timeless memories. He has been going to the same sites he used to go with Jenny, according to friends, the temple where they once prayed for acceptance, the local market, and the park where they used to sit together. He's not upset, one pal clarified. He's simply empty. Rumor has said that Sumit might yet attempt to woo her back by traveling to America, but that future is unknown due to emotional wounds, cultural barriers, and legal issues. A neighbor told a reporter he talks about her like she's still there. Every morning, he still prepares 2 cups of tea. According to reports, Jenny has been living quietly, close to family in California. She doesn't mention Sumit when she is seen shopping by herself, although she does smile pleasantly at those who recognize her. A buddy remarked, "She's healing. She is at last relearning how to breathe." For the first time in years, Jenny's decision to leave is what defines her life, not a relationship or a TV show. However, TLC insiders assert that the network hasn't completely given up on the couple. According to rumors, producers are working on an unexpected reunion special that might be the first time Jenny and Sumit have seen each other since she left. According to a producer, it's emotional. There are regrets and tears, as well as things that cannot be undone. However, people closest to Jenny claimed that she isn't. Looking back, she gave it her all, an insider emphasized, and she left with honor when she eventually received nothing in return. That is strength, rather than weakness. One thing is evident as fans eagerly await the upcoming release. The love tale that started out with defiance and optimism has evolved into one of survival and sadness. The woman who previously put everything on the line for love, Jenny Slatten, has now made the decision to be herself. After a few weeks, the commotion over Jenny's silent departure subsided. Time had stopped for Jenny and Sumit, but the world had carried on. 2 hearts that were still bound together by suffering were learning to live apart across continents. One was attempting to recover while the other was attempting to comprehend how everything had collapsed. Jenny's life had returned to a precarious normalcy in California. The calm mornings, the smell of the coastal air, and the streets were familiar, but somehow unfamiliar. She appeared different, according to friends who hadn't seen her in years. She was lighter and more composed, but she was also haunted. One longtime acquaintance told reporters, "She smiles, but it's the kind of smile that hides a storm. She's experienced too much to act as though she's okay." Sources close to Jenny claim that she stays out of the spotlight by spending the majority of her days with her family. However, her Admirers can still spot her in public. Places like supermarkets, parks, and even tiny cafes. Others come up to her, asking why she finally decided to leave Sumit, while others offer words of encouragement. She is courteous, but aloof to them. According to one fan, she said, "I regret losing myself trying to keep him, but I don't regret loving him." Jenny hasn't quite moved on from her past, despite her efforts to start over. According to insiders, TLC wants to film an emotional reunion special that would reunite Jenny and Sumit together for the first time since her departure. TLC producers have been approaching her repeatedly, offering what they describe as the closure she deserves. Jenny first declined. She expressed to producers that she did not want her suffering to become the subject of another plot point. But when the days stretched into weeks, she started thinking about it, not for the media or the ratings, but for her own peace of mind. She confided in a close friend, "I think I need to hear him say goodbye. Perhaps then I won't have to question whether I made the right decision." Sumit's life in India, however, had collapsed in unexpected ways. He has been living alone, avoiding social events, and declining new filming offers from TLC. According to insiders close to him, one friend acknowledged that he's not the same person. He seldom ever eats. Most nights he just sits in silence. According to the neighbors, Sumit is frequently spotted strolling close to the temple where he and Jenny used to pray. He spends hours sitting on the steps, occasionally clutching his phone, looking through old pictures of her. A local seller who frequently sees him there described him as being trapped between the past and the present. He can't figure out how to let her go, but he still loves her. Then the pivotal moment arrived. Several production insiders claimed that TLC was able to persuade Jenny and Sumit to take part in a secret reunion special, which was initially taped separately before being brought together under strict confidentiality. According to reports, the crew first flew to Los Angeles to record Jenny's section before traveling to Delhi to record Sumit's tearful confession. Jenny's interview was honest, unvarnished, and full of heartbreaking details. She whispered, "I wanted to think that love could make everything better," tears streaming down her cheeks as she confessed that leaving India was the hardest choice she had ever taken. "But I learned that love without respect will eventually break you." She said it was like severing a part of my heart. Days later, Sumit's portion was just as moving. His voice broke as he said, "I don't blame her. I kept her waiting for too long." He acknowledged that he had been living in denial for months, telling himself Jenny would never truly leave, but that he was mistaken to believe that love could triumph over the hatred of his family. "I realized she was stronger than I ever was when she left." Under strict confidentiality, producers flew Sumit to Los Angeles when it was time for their reunion. Instead of being staged, the conversation was taped in a calm, candle-lit studio that was intended to feel intimate. Jenny was the first to arrive, holding her hands together and clearly frightened. She froze as soon as Sumit walked in. There was silence for a minute. Then they spoke a kind hi to one another through shaky smiles and sad eyes. Witnesses said there was a lot of emotion in the air. Jenny wiped away a tear and giggled softly as Sumit continued, "You look beautiful." She said, "You haven't changed." The ensuing quiet spoke louder than any words could. Real-time heartbreak was the topic of the conversation that followed. Some expressed regret and acknowledged that he had lost the woman he loved the most because he was afraid of losing his parents. Jenny nodded as she listened, her eyes no longer filled with longing, but with compassion. "I forgive you," she said at last. "However, forgiveness does not grant me the ability to return." Sumit bowed his head, and the hard exterior momentarily collapsed. He muttered, "I would stop at nothing to make this better." Jenny extended her hand and touched his tenderly. "Sumit, you can't repair what's already gone." She replied quietly, "However, it can teach you something. Both of us are capable." According to the producers, the two had one other for what seemed like an eternity before departing the set. According to an insider, the farewell wasn't very dramatic. It was peaceful, genuine, and brimming with love. The kind of love that endures even when a relationship ends. Jenny allegedly told TLC that she felt lighter after filming and that seeing some allowed her to finally let go of the guilt she had been carrying. "I waited for him to pick me for years," she said, "but now I understand that I had to make my own decision." According to accounts, Sumit returned to India the following day looking devastated but oddly at peace. He took it, a friend disclosed. He stated that although he will always love her, he recognizes that she no longer depends on him for happiness. According to insiders, the reunion show is the most emotional one TLC has ever produced and is expected to air as a special called Jenny Sumit The Final Goodbye. It concludes with one quote from Jenny's farewell interview that sent the whole crew to tears. "Staying isn't necessarily the goal of love. Knowing when to leave, even if your heart remains there, is sometimes crucial." Jenny has been gradually rebuilding her life ever since. She has been traveling with fam,